Hey everyone, it's James. It is July 5th, about 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We got the 4-hour chart of Bitcoin, BTC, USD on the Bitfinex exchange. This video is not investment advice. Anyways, not much. We have had some pops throughout July 4th, some whipping back and forth in price, definitely some volatility, an increase in volatility is what I should say, but not much. We ended up flat basically. So we started on July 3rd, I think, right here, and then July 4th, and now July 5th, reversed everything right back to where we started. So not much has changed. I think this is because of the futures market. But anyways, I still think that Bitcoin's trying to push higher. Volume somewhat stabilizing around 5 billion. So that's a good number. Not as good as we've seen in the past. Definitely much smaller than the prior runs we have seen in Bitcoin. But that's understandable when you can clearly see ever since the 6,000 bottom, the runs to the upside are only getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And if I don't even know, we'll clarify these as runs. But anyways, this one more than likely will be a smaller iteration if we continue to break higher of the prior ones. And then there we'll have our like little 3 small humps in Bitcoin. But you can see that price action is definitely dwindling. I saw one of the top guys, I forget his name. I think it's like Tom Lee or something. I don't know. He pops on CNBC every now and then to talk about like future price action and where Bitcoin's gonna go. And I saw an article that he had to revise his year-end projection. He keeps bringing it down and down. It keeps notching downward. I didn't even really read the article, but anyways, the point is, I think like more people are starting to understand what I've been talking about in my videos, that Bitcoin needs time. I keep stressing this in all my videos. This is something a lot of people are not going to talk about. They're not going to account for. You cannot account for time with lagging indicators. I mean, you can look for oversold and overbought conditions, of course, but you can clearly see, you don't need anything special to show you that this chart needs time, that we had the bubble top. This is the aftermath of a bubble, and bubbles go through a stage of normalization, which typically requires a lot of time. During that time, they try to form a base. That base then gives them the energy to once again rival this top in the future. I don't think it's going to be in the near future like people have been hyping up. I mean, you see the crazy videos and articles out there. People are doing whatever they can to get eyes on their site, on their videos, whatever. They'll come up with crazy crap. But the truth of the matter is, this market is going to be tough for quite some time. This could be a whole year. By the end of the year event, we could still be whipping around, flopping around, maybe slightly going lower than this 57.50. I'm not quite sure that is the bottom yet. I think what we're doing is trying to duplicate a similar price movement here as they're trying to push the market back up, but it's not following through like we've seen in previous runs, right? It's not as big. The volume's not coming in as strong. We've seen it multiple times. This iteration failed. This iteration failed. They tried this one. It flopped over. So they're trying again. They're trying to keep it pumping, keep everybody excited in the market. Sentiment did get extremely bearish down in here. So, of course, we need to whip those shorts, get them back on the bull side. Once we start to get that extremely bullish sentiment, which we're kind of like starting to ramp and notch up toward that range. But once that sentiment starts to get crazy, right, and everyone starts to come out the woodwork, and everyone's talking about the moon, and everyone's talking about 50,000 by the end of the year, 100,000 by the end of the year, whatever are the crazy number they're coming up with nowadays, then we'll start to know, okay, this market's topping out. You're going to start to see all the mainstream media sources start to hype up Bitcoin. That's it. It's the revival. It's going to the moon, whatever. Like you get the whole gist. But that's what we'll see. And about then is kind of where we'll start to top out again. Just like we did here. Like all the euphoria just reached a like a peak, and everyone was just super ecstatic, and everyone thought it was going to be the easiest money of their life, and then boom, they all got led right to the slaughter, right? So we've seen multiple iterations of these attempts to push the market, these crazy bars that come typically very early morning, very late at night. Eastern Standard Time is typically when they do occur. So, we can see that every single time, and like I said, it's just the nature of this beast. There's still money to be made on both sides. There's definitely way more money to be made shorting this market than there is on the long side. But there's still money to be made. It's just going to be tough. And I say that because it's just the reality of this market. I mean, you can see the market dwindling like that. Like it doesn't take much more to show you what's happening in this market. This is a chart of buyers and sellers. Like this is a marketplace. So buyers and sellers are showing you what Bitcoin is worth. And if the marketplace is like thinning out and less people are coming back into this market to keep this price boosted up, and now it's just left in the exchanges of big money, whether it's exchanges or big buyers. I imagine it's exchanges. I cannot imagine that a bunch of big buyers got together at the same exact time and they're like, that's it, let's jump right in. I think it's the exchanges trying to keep their business model going. Everything with them is transactional fees. They have to keep people interested in this market for their survival of their business. But it's showing that the market, the everyday individual and everybody else, and a lot of the people out there do not believe Bitcoin is really worth much more than what it currently is. And less people are showing up to buy at these levels. We started seeing volume in the 9 billion all the way up to 12 billion. Even on the downside, we were still holding about 9 billion on average. Then we started dipping down into the 8s, and it took a long time for us really to break about that 8 billion 24-hour volume trading figure. So, and now it's like we're struggling just to hold 5 billion. I mean, we are really struggling without these wild and crazy bars that we've seen. There would be no 5 billion number. We'd be more around 4 billion, maybe 3.5 billion. So things are definitely dwindling, but I think it's because Bitcoin is trying to find that base. Everyone's kind of wondering what's going to go on, and it's just going to be this violent whipping back and forth as these exchanges, I'm just going to say it's the exchanges that are doing this, try to hold price steady through obvious manipulation of the market. But in a way, it has to be done to somewhat stabilize this market, build a base for this market, and ensure the integrity of the market. The same thing happens in the stock market too, right? You got the Plunge Protection Team, PPT. They're there to ensure the integrity of the stock market. So if stuff starts to go south, they can step in, use however much money they have, which is probably an unlimited fund source, to hold that market as best as possible. Things happen in the gold market, silver market, Forex markets, the same exact thing. There's manipulation across the board, and it almost has to be done in a way to stabilize and ensure the integrity of the market. So when you are at home and you're clicking buy and sell, you're not like immediately buying and then price is dropping 1,000 points, So that manipulation has to be there, but the manipulation in this market is definitely not having the same amount of power that it's had in the past. And I think that is because less and less people are showing up to buy Bitcoin at these levels. And I think it's probably because of the blatant manipulation we got and how many people got brutalized that are listening to the mainstream media, right? They're calling as many sheep as possible to the slaughter, and they keep doing it time and time again. I think more and more people are kind of picking up on it. And then you got the crazy people coming out the woodwork, and they're hyping up wild and crazy prices beyond 20,000. I mean, like 20,000 is crazy as it is right now. Beyond 20,000 is like you're like literally rivaling like the drug addict down the street with that kind of mindset. Like there's just no way anybody could possibly come up with any analysis that's pointing towards 35,000. Like maybe if you want to fixate on fundamentals only, sure, but fundamentals, like you might as well throw those things out the window because the market's telling you exactly what it's worth, and that's it. And if this chart is showing you everything's going down, I don't care what your fundamentals are. I don't care what anything is. This is what people think it's worth at the end of the day, right? So that's just like the harsh reality of reality, but this is the marketplace. And I don't mean to go like on a tangent, but I just really need to emphasize to people that this market is going to take time, and these pushes to the upside are not working as well as they used to in this market. So that again emphasizes time. I think we are definitely going to have more horizontal movement than we are going to have vertical movement, and I mean vertical movement up or down. I think possibly even if we come back down and break below 57.50, I don't think really the market gets any lower than about that 5,000 figure zone. There's so much buying activity here that I don't think the exchanges and I don't think any big players in this market really want to see price break below this zone, because if it does, there's really just a choppy mess down below, and you could quickly see the 4,000 range, and if not lower. And I think at that point, it's really going to deteriorate the integrity of this market, and people are at that level. I think people are definitely going to think that it's going to drop down into the thousands, and I just don't think they're going to allow it to get there. I think they're going to do everything in their power to try to maintain this level for Bitcoin for as long as possible and base it out horizontally, because less and less people are going to show up until there is a nice sustained and change in trend, right? So far the trend is down. There's been no change in trend. There's been attempts to form a change in trend, but they've continuously failed. And and that's more than likely due to big money escaping, and the retail guys are the only people really holding this up right now, and retail money does not have deep enough pockets to push Bitcoin from where we're at now all the way up to 20,000 or whatever crazy numbers people are coming up with, right? So the biggest target for Bitcoin at the moment is about 6,800. If Bitcoin cannot break above 6,800, we might as well kiss all those numbers that are to the north goodbye, right? And then beyond 6,800, we still have another barrier of 7,700, right? And it's just, there's no telling on how long it's going to take Bitcoin to break these levels. But if Bitcoin cannot break 6,800, then just forget every other single number to the top. Like, don't try to sell yourself on some crazy picture up here, because if we can't break simple resistance points, then Bitcoin's not going to go any higher. We are just going to go lower, or we are going to base out horizontally. So I don't like to get too far in the future on this market, but I try to keep these videos as realistic as possible, because I know a lot of people trading this, right? I got subscribers that trade this, and the last thing you need is some whack job selling you on some idea that it's going here or here. I don't even care if they're telling you it's going to 10,000. That's still a wacky number. There are certain levels that have to be met, and if you're not thinking about these certain levels that have to be met, and you don't even know how to walk, but you're thinking about running, like, what do you think's gonna happen? You're gonna like stand up and try to move forward and just flop over, and that's exactly what you're gonna do. You're gonna make a bad decision. You're gonna make an investment decision thinking it's guaranteed because some crazy maniac on the internet or some crazy analyst on mainstream media told you it's going to the moon. And that's all you're fixated on. That's all your brain's gonna fixate on is this number. And you're gonna think about, oh man, I'm gonna turn 1,000 into 10,000, or 10,000 to 100,000, or 100,000 into 1 million. I'm gonna quit my job and everything. And that's the mentality you see a lot. Not only in this market, but just across the board. Everyone starts getting all googly-eyed about these crazy numbers and making really stupid decisions. So the point in these videos, and I know it's going to attract a lot of hate, I'm sure, but the point in these videos is to kind of bring that down to a level-headed analysis to where we're just focusing on small little wins. And if these small wins start to turn into rejection points, like 6,800 turns into a rejection point for Bitcoin, then you have to kiss all those other numbers goodbye. Like, that's it. Like, we are range bound, or we are going to continue to head lower. We'll have to see exactly how this pans out, but that's the number I'm looking for on Bitcoin right now, is about 6,800. I still think they're going to try to hold this market as best as they can in this range. The volume's sustained, so at least if they are pouring in money into this into Bitcoin and into the various coins as well too, then things are somewhat looking better than they were just even a few days ago. We were hovering in the low 4 billion range. Now at least we have a little bit of a pickup in volume as price is moving north, which is also a big change on what we've seen in history here, recent history. As price has been going up, we've seen the volume start to dwindle and literally disappear. So now we're kind of seeing the opposite of that. So I do not think the end of the run is here, but the volatility is going to be here. And they're doing everything they can to stabilize this market and hold this market at this level. The question is, for how long? And that's really the biggest question that we have here with Bitcoin. So other than that, I still remain bullish on a very small time frame on Bitcoin, like maybe just a couple weeks. I think that's about it. Maybe we might be going into that second week here. We'll have to see exactly how the next few days pan out in Bitcoin, but I think we still got a little more upside out of this market, as there will, I definitely think, be an attempt to break that 6,800 mark. What happens beyond 6,800, I don't know. I do not think, though, that Bitcoin is going to have enough energy and support to break above 77, 7,800. I don't think that's in the cards at all. I think somewhere between there and 6,800 will be the top of this run, and we will continue back down, and then from there either base out or bust below 57.50. So that's it for tonight. I'll do another video tomorrow, like a 16-minute video today. So I don't mean to make it long, but I just feel like sometimes you gotta elaborate on some certain points. And I'm sure some people like it, some people don't. But that is the nature of this beast, is there's so much hype out there on the internet. It's absolutely crazy. And it just boggles my mind on how people just eat it up and just subject themselves to the lunacy that we see out there in the cryptocurrency market. So just stay level-headed. Anyways, I'll do another video tomorrow night. If you guys, girls, anyone watching the video, if you do like the video, you like the content, please like, comment, subscribe, follow. I will produce another video tomorrow evening. I hope you have a great day, great evening, depending on where you're at. I thank you for your time. I thank you for your support. If you've not joined the Slack channel, I do have a Slack channel that's free for everyone to join. There's over 350 members there, and everyone's extremely friendly. It's a nice, friendly environment for anyone interested in cryptocurrency. And then you can also find my social media links as well as a Slack link on my site at geometriccharts.com. At the bottom, there's my links there. And then also, if you're looking for something more in depth, where I talk about specific price points, stop losses, profit targets, etc., I do have a subscription service that I cover Bitcoin, various cryptocurrencies, the stock market, commodities, and some Forex here and there, but not too much. I try to stay out of that market, but it's relevant to, well, they go synergistically, the Forex goes synergistically with stocks and commodities. So anyways, that's it. Everybody have a great day, great night.